Archaeologists have just found an artifact which belongs to the brother of Jesus of Nazareth.
The mysterious engraving on its side, sort of a Da Vinci Code in stone. It's written in ancient Aramaic, and it reads, James, son of Joseph, brother of Jesus.
Now this right here is a tiny box named Ossuary. Now back in the 1st century, the Jewish people used to follow a culture where if any of our family members are dead, they basically wait for the body to decompose, and then they take the bones that are decomposed from the body and lock it up in a small box, which is then used as one of those memorial objects, which the family members tend to anytime they want to remember this person. And the bones inside this box is now officially confirmed that this box belonged to a guy named James, who is the blood brother of Jesus Christ himself. This apparently was found by a group of archaeologists in early 2000s, where there is this inscriptions that's written on top of the box, which when translated to English, it says that the remains of the guy that's in this box belongs to James, who is son of Joseph and brother of Jesus Christ. Now usually in the 1st century of the Jewish culture, it's known that they lock up some of the remains of the dead people, like the decomposed bones. Now usually in the Jewish culture, they never really mention the name of the brother on this box. It's usually just the name of the father and the person that's dead. But then in this box, they seem to have mentioned the name, and that's supposed to be one of the most rarest thing that usually happens in the Jewish culture. And if the brother is a very famous person, or if it's a very important person that the entire world seems to be knowing for some reason. And since Jesus was and still is one of the most famous planned to have ever walked on planet Earth, his name is now engraved in this box, and it has been mentioned that he is the blood brother of Jesus Christ. Now this box right here is known to be one of the most controversial boxes in the Christian community, because as we know, Christians are divided in many different ways, one being the Catholic, and then we have the Orthodox, and then we have the Protestants. So there are different types of Christianity that follows Jesus in a very different way. Now, the guy that found this box is an archaeologist named Oded Golan, and he actually went through a lot of court and trials for almost 7 entire years. And after 7 years of non-stop battle with the courtroom, this guy was acquitted by court in 2012, where after doing all the research in 2012, they confirmed that this artifact is not forged. And archaeologists and a lot of scientists have worked on this box in order to see if any of the carvings that are made on the box are from the recent dates. And to their surprise, they now figured out that the box, as well as the carvings that are made on the box, all result back all the way to 2,000 years from now. Now that's where things got very interesting, because now that the box has been officially confirmed that it is from Israel all the way back to 2,000 years ago, which is also the same time as to when Jesus Christ walked on this earth alongside his brother named James. Now, if you have seen the TV show called The Chosen, then this is the guy that's actually depicted as the brother of Jesus in the show. Now, apparently they don't show him as a blood brother of Jesus in the show, because like I said, Christianity is a culture that's kind of just divided in many different forms, one being the Catholic, and then we have the Protestants, and there's Orthodox. There are so many different ways of following Christianity. It's just up to you to choose the right way. So that's one of the reasons as to why the Chosen series did not really show the exact reference as to what the Bible claims on who small James actually is. And this archaeological evidence also confirms the existence of James, who is mentioned in the Bible as Little James. And this is the only known physical object that we currently have that is biologically connected to Jesus and his family directly. Now, in the Bible, the scripture itself mentions in Mark chapter 6, verse 3, it says that, "Is not this the carpenter, the son of Mary, and brother of James, Joseph, Judas, and Simon?" Also in Galatians chapter 1, verse 19, Paul also mentions, "But I saw none of the other apostles except James, the Lord's brother." Now, this already confirms that James is indeed the brother of Jesus Christ, and this is a solid proof that the Bible is indeed true. For a lot of people that really don't want to believe in the scriptures, you know, many people say that these are fairy tales, it's not real, these things never happened. Even though we have all the archaeological evidence, a lot of people do eventually just refuse all of those things. And most of the world think that they don't have any scientific evidence. And I think we have finally officially found one of the best scientific evidence out there, which is not even spoken about in the entire world as of now, because this is massive and people need to speak about this stuff and let as many people as possible learn and know about what kind of archaeological evidence evidence that they have officially found, which could now officially prove that everything that's in the Bible is true, and we also have some scientific evidence right now. Now, what kind of a brother was James to Jesus? So after Jesus was born, it seems like the Protestants believe that Mary and Joseph had baby together, and that's the baby who we call as little James, and also the person that we see in the Chosen TV show. Now let's talk about the Orthodox Christians version, because the Orthodox actually believed that James was a stepbrother of Jesus, and he had nothing to do with Mary, and he was just another son of Joseph. So the Eastern Orthodox tradition, they believe he is a stepbrother of Jesus, but then he's not biologically connected to Jesus in any sort of way, because Jesus is only connected biologically to Mary, but then not to Joseph. So if James turns out to be Joseph's son, this means that he's just a stepbrother and not a biological brother. And now comes the Catholic Christians. Now the Catholics, they actually believe in a completely different thing, where they believe that the word brother itself is just a symbolic representation. This does not mean that James could be a blood brother or even a half brother or a stepbrother in any sort of way. It's just something that they just refer to James as, where he could be a cousin or maybe a close relative, because Mary is indeed known to be a virgin, and we don't know what happened to Joseph as well. So that's what the Catholic Christians believe, that he could be some sort of a cousin or a very long relative that Jesus probably had in some way or form. So there are many different interpretations as to who James is, but then of course, now that we have seen this box, this gives us a lot more information. And so I'm going to leave that to you guys to decide. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think that James was an actual blood brother of Jesus? Could he be the son of Mary and Joseph, or could he be the son of Joseph itself? Or do you think that is just some sort of a symbolic representation where they use the word brother as the Catholic Christians believe it? Now, James was actually killed 62 years after the death of Jesus. Now, James is known to be one of the biggest historical leaders, and he's one of the massive reasons as to why Christianity was even born in the first place. He was actually the leader of the church, and James was executed in Jerusalem around 62 AD, and he was stoned to death by the order of the Jewish high priest Ananus during a brief period when Rome had no governor in the place. And Josephus actually wrote this in the scriptures, which says that he convened the judges of the Sanhedrin and brought before the brother of Jesus, who was called as the Christ, whose name was James, and delivered him to be stoned. Now in the 2nd century, it was believed that James was deeply respected by a lot of Jews, and as they saw that after the death of Jesus, that James has been influencing a lot of people in the temple, and he's also been spreading the word of Jesus. And after the crucifixion happened, a lot of people started believing in Jesus and following him, and Christianity was getting born. And this kind of just forced the Jewish leaders in order to put him to death. And that's when they decided to first throw him off the cliff of a mountain. And even after the fall, it seems like James did survive. So they decided to stone him to death. And even after stoning him to death, it seems like James was still alive. And then they decided to take a massive club and smack it on his face. And that's how they killed James at the end of the day. Now, it is a very scary and unfortunate death that James apparently had. But then after his death, they seem to have found some of his remains, and they stored that in a box where they have engraved the name as Jesus's brother. And also it mentions that he is the son of Joseph. So the reason why I actually made this video is because I believe that a lot of people don't really know about this stuff. Some of the archaeological evidence that has officially been found, where now we can prove with science that everything that's inside of this book is actually true. So a lot of people need to know about this stuff, because I think even if you're born as a Christian, I think many people still don't know about all of these discoveries that they have officially found. And if they do end up knowing all of these things, I think it's going to get them much closer to God, because we have like solid proofs that these things are indeed real. Because I don't think even if you're born as a Christian, you still kind of 100% believe in these things. But then if we have like a solid proof, like what we have with science and technology, this could actually strengthen a lot of people's faith in God itself. So that's the reason why I have started making these videos. And I would really appreciate it if you guys could go ahead and share these videos with as many people as you possibly can, so that they can also know the truth and they could be saved at the end of the day if they get close to God. So your support is very, very much appreciated. So the way that you guys can support these videos is by simply just going down and dropping a like and a comment on this video, because YouTube algorithm, it works in a very bizarre way where it starts showing the video to as many people as possible if it has more likes and comments. So that's one way of like pushing the video out to as many people as possible. And also you guys could go ahead and share this video with your friends, family, and people's souls that you would love to save. So it would actually mean a lot, and you would make a lot of difference as well. So I'm really asking every single one of you guys to do your part. It hardly takes a couple of seconds. It's going to make make a lot of difference. So thank you so much for watching this video. Please leave your thoughts down below in the comments. I really want to know what you guys have to say about everything that we've just found. Now, I really hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast, and I will see you guys on the next one. Till then, take it easy, fams, and goodbye.